Website at realtimetv.co.uk for all your DIY desires. Now, discover how to do it properly with someone who really knows what he's doing.
Hello and welcome to Build, Buy or Restore. Today we're helping a couple with a budget of up to £800,000. The challenge is they want to live in Solihull in the West Midlands, which is one of the most sought after suburbs in Birmingham. And in terms of building plots for a self-build, well, the only opportunities tend to be in people's back gardens. So how do you create a spacious family home when you can't build out and you can't build up?
John and Jane Carthew live in Monkspath on the edge of Solihull with their two children, Michael and James. They've been here for nearly 10 years now, but it's time to move on.
Jane and John's house is set in one of the most desirable locations in the West Midlands. It's a very nice area, quite a modern estate, less than 20 years old I would say, and they've got a lovely 4-bedroom detached house. The only issues here, well, they've got a shared drive, not necessarily a problem, and you can just make out the M42 in the distance. Although inside, I doubt you can hear a thing. Let's take a look.
The house has been extensively worked on. The loft space has been converted to create a playroom for the kids. The dining room knocked through to create a spacious kitchen diner, and they've added a conservatory. So this is clearly a couple who believe in making the most of their property. And that's why they want to move. They want a new project in or close to this area.
We've 2 boys, they're getting older, and we've got roots here. We don't want to give that up. We want the kids to have some society around them, some community around them, people that they know. So we're trying to maintain that. So that naturally has a limiting effect on what you can do. Nevertheless, we still want to see what options are there.
Now, you've got a lovely spacious place here with quite a modern open plan layout, certainly in the kitchen. Is that what you're looking to replicate, or are you looking for something totally different?
Something that we were particularly interested in, possibly building from scratch. We do know somebody who's done that and enjoyed the design part
Was it successful?
of it. It was successful, yeah, hard work, I think. But yeah, pleased with the end result.
Build something, well, that's an exciting project, but it's challenging. Buy something, easy. You just walk in, there it is, all done.
Yeah.
And if it's as you want it, that's great. Restoring something, not too sure about that one, because that seems to be sort of in between. You've got to fund it and live somewhere and then move into it. So, but we've considered all those options.
Now, what about budget? Because you're selling this place at the moment for $365.
That's right.
That's right, yeah.
And you've had an offer?
Yeah, we have. We've accepted the offer.
But you're thinking of spending quite a lot more. This is going to be quite a big jump to your next property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the most you could spend for the right thing?
We've been looking between £700,000 and £800,000.
So in an ideal world, what will this property have in terms of number of rooms, bedrooms, etc.?
Guest room and ensuite we'd really like. We do a lot of entertaining, have a lot of people to stay. That would be on our dream criteria. And also for us, we really want the boys to be able to have some space of their own.
So that's a minimum of 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, plus a games room somewhere.
Oh, that'd be lovely,
Ideally,
yeah.
Ideally, yeah.
Well, with a budget of £800,000, finding a property to buy shouldn't be too hard. When it comes to building, I'll be looking to spend around £300,000 on land, leaving a very healthy £500,000 for the build. For the restore option, I'm aiming at around 400 grand for the property, leaving another 400,000 for the renovation works. I'd already asked John and Jane to mark the properties they like and dislike in the local paper. They both have a definite preference for modern executive homes with spacious, contemporary interiors, and interestingly, they both rejected all the older properties. Now, I felt they might be missing something here. With a budget of 800 grand, you can buy an awful lot of style if you're prepared to consider a 19th century house. As I feared, finding a property to restore and a suitable building plot was really tough, so I turned to the internet.
There are lots of different ways of finding a building plot, but one of the most convenient is to just go online. Plot Finder, Plot Search, Pick Up a Property, that's just 3 of the online databases that list development opportunities for sale nationwide.
And find them I did. What I managed to come up with was a whole range of ideas that I thought John and Jane would find both challenging and exciting. Our buy option is this classic Victorian pile in one of Solihull's most well-to-do areas. It's going to really challenge John and Jane's preconceptions, and I'm not sure they'll like it, but I really do want them to broaden their outlook.
Okay, Jane, come on round. John, this is option number 1 and it's our buy option. What are your first impressions?
Possibly our first concern would be the upkeep of an older traditional house and sort of the cost of repairs, and that's all sort of put us off. But it looks fantastic from the outside.
Would you like to take a look inside?
A nice big lounge with an open fireplace there as well. Got your feature windows. This is the sunroom.
Beautiful.
Right as we come through here to the breakfast room, leads right off the kitchen. Got newly fitted kitchen, tiled floor, and you've got the utility room outside.
I love these big, old houses, but I think somehow Jane and John find them quite scary. I think it's the maintenance costs that seem to worry them, but you know, if you buy a 1960s house, it probably needs more upkeep than something that was built this well over a century ago.
Right, this is the main bedroom. Got a nice big room, window overlooking the front.
Oh, big bay window.
Yeah.
That's handsome, isn't it? It's very nice.
And your ensuite shower room.
2 more bedrooms on the first floor with a bathroom in between make the perfect guest suite. But it's the top floor that might just clinch it.
What I think Jane and John will love about this house is the attic floor. There's a lovely big bedroom up there, linked to a big playroom here with space for a pool table, a bathroom, or at least a shower room, plenty of storage, and then finally a second huge bedroom, beautiful vaulted ceiling. Basically, James and Michael, their 2 boys, could have this whole top floor to themselves. I think they love it. You are. You're taking your time looking around here, but then it is an extremely big house to look around.
Beautiful big house. It is, gosh.
It's a handsome place, handsome building.
Now, beautiful, is that a positive beautiful or beautiful for somebody else?
I think they've done some lovely things with it. This, I think, is fantastic, this open plan.
It's a beautiful
part
space,
of it.
isn't it? Yeah.
I think that's probably my favourite part of the house. Bit disappointed about the kitchen area, although we could knock the kitchen through.
I thought you might be very keen on the attic for your 2 boys.
Yes.
Playroom,
Yeah.
bedroom each, bathroom, their own floor.
Yeah, and that is something that we would really, really like.
The reason I brought you here is to show you the difference between new houses on estates, even in the last 20, 30 years, and the size of gardens and space they've got, and this type of house.
Yeah,
Look at that. And that is not all either. There's as much space as this lawn, again, at the back, after those trees. An
Really?
orchard.
Really?
The secret garden.
The house is on the market for £695,000. The vendor is prepared to pay the stamp duty of around 28 grand, making an effective sale price of 667,000. So there'd be plenty left over to knock through the kitchen and do any other alterations that the couple want.
There you are. That's our buy option. There's plenty to think about for you there, but I think we've got 2 more options, including the build and the renovation to come.
Okay.
Fantastic, thank you.
Our building plot is in Dorridge, one of the most desirable and expensive areas around here. It's part of the back garden of an existing bungalow, and it offers privacy and a mature garden.
Come around from underneath that tree, Jane. Could have done some better parking, but welcome to option number 2, which is our build option. Now, the people who own this bungalow have managed to get planning permission for a new house in their back garden, and it's a 1/4 acre plot. Access would be here. See, they put a wooden fence in. There'd be a new drop curb in the road there, and the drive would run the other side of the fence, through the hedge, and into the back garden. Come on through. So you can see that the drive continues right the way down the side of the existing house's garden. It is a beautiful, mature garden plot surrounded by trees. I mean, they really don't come a great deal better.
No.
Because obviously there's a bungalow in front of it, and because it's in people's back garden, they don't want a very tall house that would overlook everybody's garden and create privacy issues for the new house and for the surrounding houses. And so what they want to see, and what they got planning permission for, is 1.5 stories.
Right.
That's interesting.
Now, in terms of size, this plot measures just over a quarter of an acre. A modern developer would probably try and squeeze 2 houses on here.
You wouldn't think it's possible, would you?
But they do get that kind of density, so you've got a generous sized plot.
Yeah.
And the house would sit with a garage over in the far corner there where the shed is, and the drive would run straight down to it. The house would face with its front that way. This plot is going for sale at auction, and the guide price is £300,000. A good quality bungalow on here would cost you $250,000, allowing a little bit for the foundations and services.
What a very exciting opportunity.
With multi-million-pound houses just up the road, anything that Jane and John build here will be worth a fortune. So what could they build? Well, you might think that building a bungalow doesn't sound that attractive when you've got £800,000 to spend.
But they can be spectacular properties. Join us again in a couple of minutes and you'll see exactly what I mean. Welcome back to Build, Buy or Restore. If you want to build your own home, the first thing you've got to do is find yourself a piece of land.
I'm helping Jane and John Cardew spend their very healthy £800,000 budget on a property in or near Solihull in the West Midlands. They've already seen the buy option and they liked it, although they're not really that keen on Victorian houses. I've also shown them a building plot in the back garden of a bungalow in Dorridge. But what could they build here? To answer that question, I'm about to show them something spectacular. A recently completed self-build that I think is going to blow them away.
In the immortal words, here's one I made earlier. This is a great example of a house very similar to the one that's got planning permission on. The plot you've just seen is described as a dormer bungalow or a 1.5 story house. It's a very contemporary design. What do you think?
That's a beautiful house,
Fantastic.
isn't it?
Help yourselves.
Oh,
Wow, look at that.
the space, the openness.
Oh, that works for me.
I can't believe that this is about the same amount of space.
Wow, look at that. There's a bathroom off the side. You could have this as a guest
room downstairs.
guest bedroom with their own ensuite. Oh yeah, formal lounge as well.
Beautiful.
Stairs that go 2 ways.
Look at all this landing space.
Oh, look at that. You imagine the upstairs to be cramped, but it's not at all, is it?
No.
What a beautiful room. Wow.
Wow. This looks like the children's bathroom as well. It's huge.
Fantastic, isn't it? It's not standard, it's different, some character, features. Look at this, Janie. It just works for me.
Yeah. It's just spectacular.
Yeah.
You're smiling.
Oh, absolutely. It's a remarkable house, isn't it?
It's fantastic, yeah. It's so light and spacious and airy. Just everything that we'd love, really. Well, we do love it.
That 1.5 story house thing, I was thinking, what does that mean? Does that mean you're crawling around in the roof space? It doesn't just add character.
Jane and John could easily afford to build a house like this on that plot in Dorridge. So easily, in fact, I think they should build a lot more. But of course, they can't spread outwards and they can't build any higher.
There is a very clever idea that could get you another 100, 130 square metres, and that is to build a basement.
Oh.
You're paying some of the cost towards building a basement anyway by having to dig deeper. Now that would allow you to get the house not of 210 square metres on that plot, but of 300 square metres, so a house that's bigger than this.
Wow.
All we need is an expert on basements.
Andy, thanks for coming along. Jane and John, meet Andy Parks, who's a basement specialist. And we've shown Andy the plans that currently have consent on the plot we looked at earlier.
We've got some fantastic ideas on here for you. What you see here is the ground floor plan of the bungalow as proposed. So if we strip away all of the detail, you end up with a footprint, which is basically like that, which is just where the foundations will be.
How does the light work then into the basement?
The lighting is very important, obviously, and there's a myriad way of attacking it. Obviously, in this one here, you can see you've got a light well. It depends on what face of the property the light well is as to when it gets a lot of light
So a
in.
light well is just, if you've ever seen basements in the old Georgian houses in London,
Yeah.
you walk down the street and there's the drop there, and the window below ground level looks out into the light well.
If you use daylight bulbs in certain lighting circuits, then you can actually switch that on and you get daylight everywhere.
By using special bulbs that have got the same frequency as daylight, is that how it
Exactly.
works?
Yeah.
If they wanted to put bedrooms down there, is that doable?
Yes, you can do anything you like.
We've worked out how much it would cost you to build. We said around £100,000. Obviously, you could spend more if you really went to town on the fixtures and fittings.
Fascinating.
Could you see yourself building a basement?
Yeah, I think so. I consider value in that.
The building plot is being sold at auction, so they may have to pay around £325,000 for it. With stamp duty and other costs, I'm allowing a total of £345,000 for the land. A 1.5-storey house built to the highest specifications would cost around £255,000. Add £100,000 for the basement, and we've got a total cost of £700,000. Now, remember that figure because our independent estate agent has come up with a valuation for the finished property.
There's no precise science with valuation, but approximately, in Dorridge, £300 per square foot. It will push the price to about 1.1 million, or thereabouts.
So for an extra investment of £100,000, you're adding up to £300,000 more value through the extra space. Does that change your perspective on basements at all?
It does rather.
So, with that tantalising figure hanging in the air, it's off to see our Restore property, a range of Victorian red brick barns in the countryside just 5 miles outside Solihull. They come complete with 2.5 acres of land. So they're a great buy at £360,000.
As you have probably guessed, option 3 has to be our renovation. And as you can see, this is a barn for conversion together with a huge amount of land. It's got a 2-acre paddock and vast gardens. It's huge. Never mind a sit-on mower, you're going to need a flock of sheep to look after this land. I'm serious, it's vast. Come and take a look. Okay, I told you to expect it. A barn, there's cow muck, there's straw, it's authentic. What are your first impressions?
That's got great potential. So much to do, though.
Jane?
Oh, I'm bordering on there's so much to do. This is so
Scary.
Yeah.
The current scheme is for this area here to become one big living room. Behind that wall there, you've got another bay that's the same size as the one there. So you'd knock that wall out and connect the two together to create a big living room. You'd have a gallery up there, there's a dressing area with its own little staircase, and then a bedroom behind it. That concept's repeated over here, so you've got the gallery, the shower room, and another bedroom.
Yeah.
The third bedroom in this part of the building is designed to be underneath the end there. Under the current scheme, you'd come from your living room into a corridor, the bedroom would be behind you, and this would be a kitchen breakfast room with windows opening onto your courtyard garden. These are clearly the old animal barns, and they need a lot of work to bring them back into use because you've got these concrete floors to lift. And the idea is to create here 2 more bedrooms for guests, at least 1 more bathroom, probably 2 more bathrooms, and then there's a store at the far end as well. So lots of space.
That's an awful lot of land.
It is a lot of land. It's an exciting prospect, but it's a lot to look after, isn't it?
Well, it's a lot to take in. I mean, how do you start to visualise something like this? A sort of huge project like this. This is a big project.
As long as you were satisfied you knew what you were doing and you got the budget to make it work, I think you could turn it into a great place. Whether it's the right thing for us, I don't know.
What they needed was a bit of help, so I took Jane and John to the local pub to meet an expert in visualising projects for architects and designers.
Matt has worked up a design scheme that shows in 3 dimensions what that barn conversion could look like. So over to you, Matt, let's take a look at this.
Okay. So this is taking design elements from things like the windows that you like, the arch windows, and the sort of the woodworking.
It's brought the light in, hasn't it? It's
Yes.
got that big galleried living area, then the separate bedrooms.
Yeah.
That looks fantastic, doesn't it? The opening of that glass.
It does, yeah. And it's full of character, isn't it? That's what you're going to get. You spend the money on this sort of conversion, that's what you're going to get. Bags of character, somewhere different to live.
This kind of visualization is immensely useful. Matt created this animation from the existing plans, but what he quickly realised is that those plans didn't make the best use of the space. And in this case, Jane and John would be best advised to go right back to the drawing board.
So from a design perspective, it's a good idea to have a three-dimensional model built so you can actually see how the space is really going to work.
Sure, yeah. This is just to give you a representation of what the architect's planning permission will allow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for instance, you might decide you don't want a glass section or you want the galleyways in a different arrangement completely. So all these things can be demonstrated very easily and very quickly, but obviously without the cost of sticking timber beams up and plastering it all and then finding out afterwards it's too late, yeah.
With the property costing 370 grand with fees and the renovation coming in at around 350,000, that gives us a total cost of 720,000 pounds. The finished project will be worth a maximum of 850 grand, so there's plenty of equity in it if they get it right.
Well, it's very interesting stuff. You know, with a building project, you lose money by building badly, but you make money in the planning. That's always the key to it. Now, Jane and John, in a moment, I'm going to ask you whether you're going to build, buy or restore. But first of all, I'd like to recap on the three opportunities that we've shown you today. Option number one was our buy option, and it was that fantastic 3-storey Victorian-style house on St Bernard's Road in the middle of Solihull. What were your thoughts on that one?
We had reservations more about an older type of house, but it was a lovely house.
Yeah.
Option number two was our build option, that wonderful 1/4 of an acre established garden plot in Dorridge. Great location for you, and a valuation of somewhere between 1 and maybe as much as 1.1 million.
That seems incredible, doesn't it?
It does. Excellent value for money.
Option number three was our restore option, a barn for conversion, beautiful area. Quite an interesting opportunity if handled right.
I think that seemed quite a big project for us, and it's more intricate, isn't it, than the other options.
Well, I think we've seen three very exciting opportunities today, all of them viable in their own right, subject to planning, of course. But you're going to have to choose now which one you're going to go for. Are you going to build, buy or restore?
Oh, for me, what you've shown us today, for me, my favourite preferred option will be to build.
The build option seemed to tick all the boxes. If we build there and we take the option of going down into the ground as well, I think we'll get a fabulous house that gives us what we want.
Well, thank you very much. It's been fantastic. And I'm really pleased and excited for you because it couldn't be a better located plot for you, really, could it?
No, it couldn't.
No.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Well, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for today. We've seen three fantastic properties. We did have £800,000 to work with, which is a really good budget. But you don't have to have a lot of money to build your own home or to do a renovation project. If you want to get a home just the way you want it, where you want it, and save some money, join us again on Build, Buy or Restore.